I never saw someone getting shot, especially not in the head. And he just got a lot of blood around his head and he was choking. But I couldn't do anything. I knew I knew we couldn't help him. And the soldiers that was next to me asked me, can we do something? I told him, listen, he's dead. We can't help him. He just took his hand and he pulled him inside the room.
My name is Michal Alon. I'm 44 years old. I'm from Kochav HaShachar. I live there with my husband and my 10 kids. And I'm a nurse. That's me.
Today is November 7th. It's hard to believe that the horrors of that Shabbat morning occurred a month ago. The world feels like a different place. Nothing really feels the same. As I travel around the country meeting more and more people who are hit most directly by the atrocities of Hamas, and as I collect their stories to share them with you, it only gets harder and harder for me to believe that this really happened. How could it be? How could so many lives have been ruthlessly shattered by such uncontrolled evil? I won't deny that this project has taken its emotional toll on me, but I remain committed to sharing these stories and giving you an opportunity to do what I think is one of the most powerful things that you can do right now, making space to listen and share the burden of this pain. But today, I needed to hear a story of resilience, survival, and hope, and I knew precisely where to find it. I met Michal Alon in the rehabilitation ward of Hadassah Hospital on Mount Scopus in Jerusalem. As we spoke, and she shared her story with me, all I could think about was that I was in the presence of a woman whose strength and courage matched that of our biblical matriarchs. I apologize in advance for the distracting background noises, but this was anything but a calm, serene setting. The rehab floor is filled with those recovering from gunshot wounds from the October 7th massacre, including 5 soldiers and 2 police officers. One of the officers told me that he was off duty at his home in Jerusalem, but when he heard what was happening in the south, he took his gun and started driving immediately down to see what he could do to help defend. He engaged in a gun battle with the terrorists for over half an hour until he was finally shot in the wrist and had to leave the scene. Michal's roommate, Ronit, a 54-year-old mother and grandmother from the city of Beitar, sustained a direct hit in her leg by a missile as she was getting off her bus on the way to work. She's slowly starting to walk again. So there's a lot going on in the background, but I encourage you to sit with us just for a bit on that hectic ward and listen to Michal's story.
We volunteer for Shabbos. We go to be in army bases. We talk to the soldiers. We're with them in the evening. We play games. We eat with them, and it's a lot of fun usually. And that was the 5th time we were asked to go, and this time they asked us if we can go to Zikim, which is a base near Gaza, and we said okay. Everything was quiet. I'll say even my kid asked me, what, it's not dangerous there? And I said, no, it's so quiet. It's a quieter place in Israel now. So we went with our 8 kids. We went there, and we had a very, very nice Shabbat in the evening. Actually, it was a lot of fun. It was the base was beautiful. It had the sound of the sea even. We heard like in the wind. And in the evening, it was very calm. We spoke to the soldiers. We sat near the commanders. At the evening, we ate with them. They played with my kid. My little kid is 2 years old, so they loved her. It was very festive because it was Simchat Torah, so it was very, very nice. We met all the soldiers together after the meal, and my husband told them stories. It was amazing. And then in the morning, at 6:20, I heard boom, And I asked myself, they don't train on Shabbos, that's very weird. And then like 5 minutes afterwards, there started this alarm, Tzeva Adom, Tzeva Adom. That's how it sounds there. It was very frightening. All the kids woke up. I woke everybody up. I told them they should get dressed. And then about 10 minutes afterwards, all the time, we heard bombing coming and falling with a lot of sounds, a lot of noise. And then came one soldier that said, "What are you doing here?" We took all the soldiers to the sheltered place, to the migunit. You have to come fast. So we ran under bombing and everything. We ran the whole family. I remember taking the pacifier of my little one, which was a miracle. We were the 8 kids. The younger one was one year and 8 months, and the older one was 20 years old. She's a soldier by herself. So we ran to the migunit, and we were there, and we thought, okay, it will be 1 hour, 2 hours, and it will pass, and we'll go back to the Shabbos with the soldiers, or we go home if it doesn't get better. Suddenly they said there's a soldier, a female soldier, that is injured. She fell from a watchtower. So I thought it was weird that she fell, whatever, but I said, they said they're bringing her, and they didn't bring her in the migunit, in the sheltered place. They put her outside. I didn't understand why, but I said, I'm a nurse, and the kids also told me, you're a nurse. Asked, maybe you can do something, because the soldiers that were with us were very young. They were only 2 months in the army. They were frightened like us, if not more. So I said, I'm a nurse. I went outside, and then I understood why they didn't bring her in, because she was very, very, she was injured very hard in her head. She had a head injury. All her eye was popping out. She looked horrible. She had a lot of blood, and I was thinking that is very weird, because she didn't, if she fell from something very, very high. I don't know, Eiffel Tower or something, because that it didn't make sense that she would look like that. Afterwards, I understood that she had a bullet in her head. She got a shot here near her nose. It was stuck in her skull, but I didn't know that then. She just told me, I have a headache. My head is exploding, and I have to go to the bathroom. So I told the soldiers, I had 3 soldiers with me. I told them, let's take her by the side to a room very close to the sheltered place. Let's take her a little bit. Let's put her down so she'll lie, and also maybe she can do her bathroom. We went there, and really she got calmer. I cleaned her a little bit, and I think she lost her conscience, but I wasn't sure. But she stopped talking.
By this point, did you have an understanding of what was going on? Had you started to realize that there were terrorists?
No, not a clue. I thought there were Tzeva Adom and they were bombing rockets, but I didn't have a clue that they were terrorists. But then after a minute, or not a minute, even a few seconds, when I turn around to bring another towel to clean her, suddenly they were shooting. That's where I need there were shots, and I'm sorry. I'm sorry, just a second. The soldier that stood at the entrance of the room that I was in got shot. He just fell into the room. I never saw someone getting shot, especially not in the head. And he just got a lot of blood around his head, and he was choking. But I couldn't do anything. I knew we couldn't help him. And the soldiers that was next to me asked me, can we do something? I told him, listen, he's dead. We can't help him. He just took his hand and he pulled him inside the room. I was thinking very fast, maybe I should hide under the bed, maybe I should go. I didn't know what to do. It's seconds. And then I saw another soldier that came to the entrance, and I was like, wow, came to help us. But then I saw that the uniform was a little bit different, and also I picked my head up and I saw that his face was older, and I understood that he's Arabic
for a second, and then a second later he just picked up his rifle and he shot me 3 shots in my stomach, in my chest, in my hand. What I felt majorly is my hand. I just felt my hand falling from my body, and I knew I was bleeding very hard. So I took my mitpachat, my head cover off, and I did myself a tourniquet. I tried, not very hard, but at least I did something. And I told myself I have to go back to the sheltered room. Meanwhile, now I know that the other soldiers that was with me in the room jumped on this terrorist. He was very brave. And the terrorist took out a knife and stabbed him in his head. But he's okay, he's alive. And when the terrorist went out to keep doing what he wanted to do, to kill everybody, as another soldier came and shot the terrorist, and he's dead. But then I put the tourniquet and I went out of the sheltered place.
You saw all that happen?
No, I just know that afterwards. I didn't see anything. I put the tourniquet and I went back to the migunit. I just thought about going back to my family and knowing what's going on with them. And I fell in the entrance of the migunit, the sheltered place. And then the soldiers that were there, we were about 40 or 50 soldiers there, and my family, they told my husband, your wife is injured. And then they took me in, and I sat there on the floor lying. And I told my husband, you have to press as hard as you can. You have to press every hole that you see in my body, in my stomach, because I feel that I'm bleeding. And then he pressed everything. He pressed everything he could. And I asked one of the soldiers to do another tourniquet, and he did it. So we were there, three soldiers, me and 2 soldiers, 3 wounded people in this place. And then and my family, my kids were there. I tried looking at them and smiling and like showing that I'm okay, but it was terrifying because I was full of blood. I saw it. But we were there. My kids were amazing. They came telling me, you're okay, Ima, you'll be fine. They tried helping me with water and all the soldiers that were there. And then we waited, and I told my husband, I need evacuation, otherwise I don't know how long I can last with this bleeding. He said, yeah, they know, they're working on it. In about 3.5 hours, we were evacuated. Baruch Hashem. They evacuated us in an army ambulance. They took the 2 soldiers, and I told them that the female soldiers that I took care of is sleeping there or lying there, should bring her also. And they did, not because of me. They also, other people remembered her.
At this point, was the base secured? Had the army taken the base over, or there were still terrorists there? They were able to evacuate you even though there were terrorists still on the base? So
afterwards I understood, I found out that who evacuated us was a very brave person named Erez Eshel. He wanted to do things, he wanted to help, and he saw an army ambulance that was the driver was shot. So he took the ambulance and he just came in to the base and he evacuated us under fire with his gun outside. It was with terrorists going around and with bombing of the rockets. Him and another Noam David, another person that drove. They were amazing. They saved our lives, definitely. I can say that, because otherwise it could be hours that we were sitting there waiting because Magen David Adom couldn't come in. They were told not to go in until it's safe, and it wasn't safe.
So they evacuated me and my husband, and we told the children. My husband thought for a second he came with me, and he told the older one that they were staying, but they would be evacuated, they told us. And we saw them, even when we drove, we saw them that they were taking them.
Michal was taken to the nearest hospital in Ashkelon, but by that point the hospital was already overwhelmed with hundreds of wounded soldiers and civilians, and she had to be evacuated to a hospital in the northern part of Israel. She immediately underwent intensive surgery and the bullet was removed from her stomach. The doctors decided they could not attempt to remove the bullet in her lung, so they had to leave it there. After a week, she was sent down to Jerusalem, where she had surgery repairing the nerves in her arm. Miraculously, the young female soldier that Michal treated with a gunshot wound in her eye, she survived and she's on her way towards a full recovery. Michal and her kids even went to visit her the other day. Erez and Noam, the two brave men who jumped in the ambulance and rescued them under gunfire from the Hamas terrorists, also survived the mayhem of that day. Erez and his wife came to visit Michal in the hospital. The soldier that was shot in the head and died as Michal watched hopelessly was 18-year-old Neria Nagari from the small village of Neria. How's the family doing emotionally? How are your kids doing? How's your husband doing? What's been happening since October 7th? It's a month. Obviously you've been having surgery and rehab and healing. What's going on with your whole family?
So my kids talk about it. They saw a psychologist. I have two kids that can't sleep at night, that are very frightened. For Shabbos, I was home. I go home for a vacation on Shabbos, so I saw my kids and my family. I was there. I couldn't do anything. Couldn't wash the dishes, but they did it. I can say they're fighting as every day, so
that's a good sign.
So that's a good sign. They're themselves. They were in a war. They felt a war. They saw people like us. We were suddenly in a war, suddenly with shooting, suddenly with a lot of blood. They were there. They saw it, but I think, I hope they got stronger from it because they helped and they talked a lot. They tried doing good things while it happened. So I think, I hope they'll be okay. My husband is amazing. Does everything. I don't know how. Yeah.
What's your hope moving forward for your family and for the situation? And also, maybe there's a message that you want to share with the world, whoever's listening.
I have a belief that we'll get stronger from after this horrible situation. I think my family will be okay, really. I think they're in the good way. I think it's even it made them stronger and very they got matured in like a very short time. I think they will be okay. Who am I to give a message to the world? But I think we have a very important message to this terrorist and to this horrible people who can make these things. That we, like Am Israel and us, we as a nation, Israel as a nation, we have a very pure ideal. We know what good is. We have to spread this all over because the evils exist. We saw it and we have to fight it. And I'm talking while my son is, for the last week and a half, is inside Gaza. He's a soldier and I know he's fighting and I know it's important, so it's very difficult for me to think about it. But I think it's very, very, very important to do, and there's no one else, I guess, that could do it. And we have to lead this thing. There's no other choice.
Okay, Michal, you need your rest and you need to heal. So we're very grateful for the time that you spent with us. And you're not alone. We're all of Am Yisrael, the whole world really is praying for you. And please God, you'll heal completely and soon, and your family will heal completely and soon. So thank you for being with us, and refuah shlema.
Thank you. Thank you.
This is Israel Take 3, and I'm David Began. Help us to share these stories with the world by subscribing, liking, and sharing this podcast. Thank you, Eli Margolis, for consulting and for logistical support. And thank you, Adam Margolis, for this musical outro. We will continue to share these stories as things unfold here in Israel.